Hey, everybody, welcome to the Silver League Playoffs Semifinals. I'm, of course, your host, Sir Venom Mike K, and with me is my color commentator, Mr. Swole. Mr. Swole? I guess that
Mr.
works out right.
Swole,
Mr. Swole PT. How's it going tonight, buddy?
we are doing well. Gonna be a night of good matches.
Outstanding, outstanding. What we have coming to you tonight live here in about 15 minutes or so is kntaijoint forces versus Black Widow Company. Now, Black Widow Company has taken the number 2 spot in the league and will have choice of sides they want all night long. As kntaijoint forces is the third place team in the league, or the number 3 in this little playoff tournament. Tonight will be a best of 5, and let's with the map rundown. Let's go to Mr. Swole. Mr. Swole, what's the map rundown tonight?
All right, we'll be starting off the tournament at Hotspot. Then we will
No,
be
no, no, no.
progressing.
That's round 3. That's next week.
Oh,
Go back one to the semifinals. Is well, we have Atlantic, Mountain Range, Loop, Sea of Fortune, and Trap.
thank you for that correction.
You're welcome. It looks like we have one returning map from last week, which is Trap, which will be the deciding tie game 5 if we make it that far. Since this is a best of 5, the winners have to win 3 out of the 5. And we'll go into immediately Atlantic. What do you guys think? How do you think that the teams are going to prepare for their semifinals after both teams 2-0'd their opponents last week? It's got to give them some pretty good confidence coming into the semifinals. What do you think? What do you think? How are they going to prepare for this week?
I think the game plan is going to be kind of sticking with what has worked for them thus far. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they'll be looking to utilize the strategies that were successful with their gameplay in the previous weeks. And I think also making sure that they're covering the tracks, not getting overly confident, being sure to really utilize that teamwork and be prepared for the unknown.
All right, so here's another question I have. Now, with all the social media and the enabling the replays and the Supremacy League getting a lot more coverage, I know Majash was streaming. He was supposed to stream tonight, but unfortunately he's unable to. But with the replay system and YouTube and all that other stuff, how do you think that differs in preparation from when not 6 7 months ago there was no league. I mean, you guys can go in and get the other teams games and strategize against them. How do you think they'll have to prepare for that?
Yeah, I think that really allows the intricacies of gameplay, strategies, team positioning to really work itself out. Because, given that, just as in any sport, utilizing that replay system to study one, your opponent's reactions to certain situations, but not only yourself to reflect. So, both teams should be coming into this with greater preparation than has been allowed in the past. And that should, in turn, translate to more intense, more exciting gameplay, not only for the participants, but for the viewers at hand, yes.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's all if I can capture it camera wise, right?
There we go. Yes, yes. Point of view.
There you go. Point of view, guys. When our point of view when we come in, we will be mainly at a very wide angle, so we can get big part of the action. And if some things get pretty intense, we'll probably scroll in. But other than that, we'll probably be at a very wide angle, just to make sure that we get all of the action. And we will try to call it as best as we can. Now, Mr. Swole, you'll be on one side, and I will be on the other, as we did last week. Somebody who's played this game for quite a while, Mr. Swole, you've got like 5,000, 6,000 games.
5,200, yep.
All right, 5,200 games in. When you see teams like this coordinating into strategy, does it excite you? I mean, what's your feelings when you have these teams?
Yes, I think this is the best of what this game has to offer. Not only the individual strategy for a player to excel, but to really see the potential of a full functioning unit, to see the power of destroyers assisting cruisers in eliminating enemies, in spotting with the battleship able smoking up a battleship. Right, we saw a lot of plays last week with the Edinburgh and using its smoke to basically hide the battleships and allow them to sneak fire with 16-inch guns at hand. So, uh, with the ability to have all these guys working in coordination, you're really looking at the creme de la creme, if you will, of team play, gameplay, ship play, all putting into one.
I think the Supremacy League gives us an idea of how teams are supposed to interact and work with each other better. Now, of course, everybody knows that random games is totally different, as these are what 8-on-8 battles, I believe, and we're going to see one carrier probably on both teams, and basically the carriers are around for spotting. You won't see too much action from them. Maybe they'll get a drop off here and there, but the AA bubbles on the Tier 8 battleships are pretty good at Tier 8, especially if you see a North Carolina. Uh, you're not gonna want to take Shikaku planes in there at all whatsoever, because it will eat them up alive. And so we're talking about the Enberg and the ability to smoke the battleships, which also goes into letting you have a extra destroyer that doesn't have to stay back, so you can get out and get more spots on people, and maybe drop a wall of torps into an enemy line of smoke. So I do believe that you might see a Kudersoff and you might see an Edinburgh tonight, Edinburgh, excuse me. Might see those tonight to sit back with some of their battleships so they can. So let's go look into the maps tonight. Atlantic. Atlantic.
Yes,
This is an interesting map. We played a lot of Atlantic in ranked season this time around,
yes, we did.
with the B being or A being right in the middle and B being up in the northern part of the map. How do you think this is a 3 point domination setup here on all of these games? How do you think? How do you think these guys are going to approach the first match of the day here, or the first game of the match?
Well, if it follows anything that what we see kind of in this standard play of things when you're coordinating with groups, I think you'll see a large force moving towards either of the peripherals. Usually, the northeastern side is a little bit better. One, it offers the island protection to cover yourself, but also to sneak in up on an enemy. It's as well. It works both ways with that cover.
Hmm.
And then a small group moving to the center, maybe a outlier trying to capitalize on a peripheral cap, but I think you'll see more of that 2 point play. And then later on in those games, as it wears itself down, maybe that third point being pursued if needed. So
Now we saw last week with our teams that played last week, APOC and the other team. Which eludes me right now, and I do apologize for that. But either way, you saw a lot of the teams focusing on the middle cap, and both teams focusing on the middle cap, and the one that got the middle cap, and wherever the other team went, if they went to C, and the team had and with the other team was able to take B, they had pretty much a free run to run one dude down and cap the other point by himself to get an advantage point wise. I think. Do you think we'll see any of that tonight?
yeah, I think that's going to be the way that the battles kind of go. That middle point is so important in controlling the map and allowing those lateral sides to really take advantage. If you only hold the lateral point, it really pushes yourself into a corner. So those battles for B, I think, are going to be intense, and it really will be whoever can hold that middle point is probably going to be the victor,
Right.
more often than not.
We did see in the Islands of Ice the other day where one team on the that spawned on the western side of the map ended up traveling down to where Charlie was, which everybody knows is in the south part of the map, and the team on the eastern side pushed into B and really dominated that B section, and that forced the team that went to Charlie having to force into the Bravo cap and really put themselves in a bad spot. They are not able to protect themselves. There's not a lot of cover, and they have to push in because we also saw when they did have B cap, the enemy team on the eastern side, they were able to send one guy going up to A and cap that, and they had a huge advantage trying to defend as opposed to having to push and try to and possibility for more and more mistakes.
Yeah, it really allows, it forces that enemy to overextend and and I think that is where you see a lot of teams crumble, is in that overextension part, when that adrenaline dump hits in, fight or flight takes in, one little wrong move, and next thing you know, you're we're trying to go for that team play, and next thing it might turn on you. So yeah, that overextension, if you can control those points and get that middle secured, you're really going to force that enemy to overextend to try to take
Absolutely.
the advantage.
Absolutely, and we saw that. We saw that in several weeks ago in our first cast here on the very last game. We were on Trident, where the one team had taken over C, one team had taken over B, and they were able to. They actually just forgot about A for the entire match and just kind of fought over B and C. And it was interesting to see when the people were trying to retake A, or trying to retake B and C, at how much damage they ended up taking trying to get these things captured back from it, and they ended up losing battleships over it, and that's kind of what you need to do. So it looks like the first game is coming up here rather shortly. So first team is in. We're just waiting on the other team now. It is on Battleship Shinano. So guys, here we go. Battleship Shinano has got the game up. So let's break down the map here. And let us bring up the map. Come on, bring up the map. Oh my gosh. She has to do the dishes right now. There we go, boys. Let's transition over here. We have Kantai Collection and Black Widow Company. As you see, we have Battleship Yamato. It looks to me, I can't really tell exactly right now what we have, but it looks like we have 1, 2, 3 battleships, 4 battleships, a couple of cruisers, and of course the destroyers, and so on and so on. So we'll go into a more deeper detail when we get it together and we actually get into the game.
If I'm seeing correctly, I do believe we see at the top of the list showing some tier 7s. Is that a Belfast shadow I am observing right there? Whether or not that is a mistake or not, we'll yet to see. But if indeed a Belfast is brought into the battle, we'll have to comment on that.
Say that. And I do apologize. I had to get up and run and do something real
I
quick.
appreciate that in you, young buck.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting follower alerts, and it's not even, I don't even have them up and on. So anyway, what were we talking about, Mr. Swole here? I do apologize for that.
No worries. I had just made a comment to the community and yourself, assumingly that if we're looking at the list over on Kentai's side, if I'm not mistaken, that is a Belfast shadow I'm observing. So if that is indeed brought into the match, we'll have to make some comments and see what's going on. And
I do not understand. I thought this was a tier
it's mainly tier 8, but I do see
8
two
only.
tier 7s
I
being
don't.
brought
I
in.
appreciate that in you, young
If I'm
buck.
observing correctly, whether this is a mistake or not, it's still early, maybe unaware. But if it is indeed, we will have to comment on
Yeah.
Belfast's play.
I'm not sure of the rules here if they want to take a tier 7 in. I didn't think that they were able to take tier 7s in. But that looks kind of like a destroyer to me, honestly. So we'll see what their strategies are going to be here. As we see 2 tier 7s being in the kntaijoint forces repertoire here. And we should be starting up here in just a minute, as the time frame is 8 to 8:10. They have 10 minutes to get the thing ready. Tier 8 is max, and some are playing tier 7s depending on the capacity of the ship. Oh, okay. So
So we will be seeing Belfast.
It
This will
looks
be an
like-
interesting, the utilization of a radar hydro setup.
And it looks like we're also going to see a Shiriatsuyu, which is one of the new Japanese destroyers. This will be an interesting man. I can't wait to see how the tier 7s match up against into the tier 8s. But everybody knows the Belfast is amazing, and the Shiriatsuyu is probably one of the best tier 7 Japanese destroyers out of the two of them that you can have. Some experiences can't hurt. So this looks like it'll be a very interesting and exciting game.
Yes.
So stick with us here. As looks like Black Widow Company is now loading into the game, and we will just sit here by ourselves, and we will let them kill us, and we will continue to talk about the lineups until we are actually dead.
Yeah, the Shiriatsuyu has the ability to burst out a torpedo spread that is +1 torpedo over the Shimikaze's Furious 15. So you can see a 16 torpedo burst released from that beast when the torp reload cooldown is available. So
Here's the thing: the Shiriatsuyu has the availability of throwing down the 5-second torp reload. If I'm correct.
that's how it is able. It has 2 quad launchers, and so upon that cooldown, you are able to get out 16 torpedoes in pretty rapid succession.
Absolutely. All right. Well, here we
Able
go,
to
boys. We are loading into the game now. This will be an interesting match. I can't wait to see how this plays out. And this is experimentation, maybe a mistake trying to experiment in the semifinals of the playoffs, but we'll see how it works. You never know. I mean, somebody might have it. All right, so here we have on kntaijoint forces, we have a Shikaku, a North Carolina, 2 Bismarcks, an Otago, a Kudasov, a Belfast, a Benson, and a Shiriatsuyu. So we were correct on that one. And conversely, on the what you
Over
got
here
over
on
there?
Black Widow Company, they have the Shokaku for the carrier duty. For battleships, we see North Carolina Bismarck Amagi, classic trio. Destroyers, Chappie, Kudasov. So we have radar utilization with the Chappie. And for the destroyer lineup, Benson, Shiriatsuyu.
Absolutely. So yes, so both teams taking advantage of the Shiriatsuyu as well, and Belfast coming out, which is I did not expect to see that at all. And here we go, boys. We have spawned. We have spawned to the left side here, and it looks like I might have to actually kill myself here. So we will go ahead and launch and kill ourselves.
And over here, down on Black Widow Companies, they have spawned, of course, in that southeastern section of the map. We have the DDs all spawning in that front row line, and people are shifting and transitioning themselves as we speak.
And looks like Kantai forces here are heading toward the C cap, and the C cap is one of the caps that I really enjoyed during the rank season here, and we all know that. Controlling C and B gives you a huge advantage, so we'll see how this goes. It looks like Belfast is doing some running around here, and looking at trying. I'm sorry, fellas. I need to die here before we can get it really deep. What you got going on your side of the map here, Mr. Swole?
Oh, sorry, mic was muted. It seems that Black Widow Company may have been stalled in starting themselves off here, but they are currently moving with the DDs kind of heading off in that BC pattern area. We'll see some engagements shortly.
Absolutely. Now I am seeing some CV play. Everybody. Here's the issue. We are having issues with the game at the moment with some of the one team moving before the other team moving, so we can move up from the rules. Is what the rules is they are able to move as soon as the game starts, and one team was confused on that rule. I'm not sure if they're going to restart. I highly doubt that they will restart.
This may be a might. We'll see how it's work. I'm sure they'll play the game out, and then whether or not we have a eventual tiebreaker match, we'll see.
We will see if we can restart. It looks like there's some confusion here. The rule is we are going to restart the game.
Yep, here we go.
That is just fine. Everybody can leave. We are going to restart the game, and that will be fair. It'll be very, very nice for them. Everybody needs to leave the room, so we will leave the room and restart as we have a false start here. and
All good.
that is just fine. Anything tier 8 and below except for the Flint is what they're saying is
Yeah,
available.
Flint is the one exclusion.
Right. And as we wait here to get restarted, ladies and gentlemen, we will going into the training room yet again. As soon as everybody leaves that game, I will be able to get back into it. So we saw a little bit of the strategy starting out very, very early as the training room now has gone away, and we just need to go back in there and wait for them to throw up the next game. There you go, Battleship Shinano. There I am. There he is.
Now, will this give Black Widow Company an idea of what the other team's strategy is going to be as they played the game as it was start from the go while Black Widow Company stayed still? So they were able to kind of observe what their enemy's game plan was. I wonder if that'll play in.
Absolutely, absolutely. We will see. It looks like they're going to take the same number, obviously the same number of ships, but I think they're going to take the same types of ships here, as one team was a little bit ahead of the other team. And just for fairness sake, and we want to make sure that everything is good, they have decided to restart the game. So there we go. False start, false reset. Yes, absolutely. So, what did you see on your team? What were they doing? I guess they were just sitting there.
We really didn't actually observe any momentum outside of a late move to kind of avoid the torpedo strike. So,
Right.
uh, Black Widow Company has the element of surprise a little bit that way. So, yeah, let's see how this plays out.
Absolutely. Same Bismarck bot, please. It looks like they are going to take in the Bismarck bot, as maybe they weren't able to fill out the minimum numbers here of actual live players. That's what it looks like.
And a Bismarck bot isn't a bad idea given the ability of it to kind of have a bit of a longer range secondary fire as a useful kind of AIAA bubble.
Right. It's a little bit. It's a little bit interesting to see, because everybody knows that the bots, they tend to go into a cap immediately as we get restarted here. They do have one bot on the enemy team, or on Bad Widow Company, which is a Bismarck, and it's not a bad bot to have, because it is very tanky, and we'll take them time to whittle this thing down. I don't see it lasting through the end of the game though.
No.
All right, and here we are. We got about 4 seconds before the start up, and I'm going to go ahead and launch my torpedoes and bombers, and maybe I can burn myself down here and torpedo myself so I can die.
Very similar spawn over on Black Widow's side. It looks like we see the movement of the Shiriatsuyu actually heading towards the A-B gap area, while the Bensons both look to be kind of zerging with the rest of the fleet towards Bravo.
All right, looks like on our side, as the beginning of the drop here, is they are actually pretty much doing the same sort of maneuvers here. As we have Benson and a Shiriatsuyu. Benson is heading toward the top of the map. A Shiriatsuyu is heading toward B. Atago is coming down. North Carolina is pushing in because he spawned way out, and that is unfortunate that he spawned that far out away from everybody else. So he's having to get back into the group, and looks like everybody's kind of merging here on the D4 line so far right now in that square, as we also see the carriers starting to throw out their planes just to try to get some more spots, and we'll be able to get a deeper in-depth look soon as I actually die here.
Yeah, right now we have Black Widow really pushing with those two Bensons hard into B. Everyone's kind of covering the fire while most of the fleet is kind of moving directly west, moving towards the A cap, with the Shiriatsuyu kind of being the forward escort as they're moving across.
Absolutely. And there I go. I was able to get a very good drop on myself, I must say. And here we go, boys. We see shots coming in on the Shariatsuyu from, looks like the Kudasov is shooting on them. Looks like everybody's shooting at everything right now. As soon as someone pops up, it looks like there is a destroyer in B. What's in B right now?
Right now we have both of the Bensons, so there's a kind of a grouping of the two. Um,
Outstanding, outstanding. Yes, our the Kantai's Joint Forces has sent their Benson up around C, and they have one. They are down one. One destroyer because they took the extra cruiser here as Mr. Swole finally goes down here. The Kudasov is taking damage. Who's shooting at him? It looks like the Bismarck bot is firing off his guns at the Kudasov for whatever he can see here.
Yeah, he seems to be the one moving forward while there's that smoke play over here by Ragnarok kind of holding out. We saw that Torp Wall try to move through the path. He was able to escape unscathed. And it looks like actually Jacob Knight in the Shariatsuyu is already pushing over at A, securing that cap with the Chappie, kind of playing a radar backbone between the island forced. So if the
Absolutely.
Shariatsu is spotted from without his detection, that Chappie can pop his radar and light him up for him.
Absolutely, and conversely, on Kantai Joint Forces, they are now all pretty much bundled up behind the island at D5, D6 here, as they are trying to position themselves a little bit better, get into some little bit of defense as they are starting to spot the enemy team being a little bit more spread out here. We'll see how this works out for them. If being all bundled up, knowing where everybody is at this point. Although I
Yeah,
don't think
it
the
seems they're going to be
destroyers.
relying on the bot Bismarck to kind of help hold down B. That bot Bismarck, of course, is rushing in. We'll see if he can avoid the torp spread
And
here.
here
Put
comes the
over.
Benson Torps, I'm sorry, those are Shariatsuyu Torps because they're only sets of four. And it looks like the Bismarck bot will take two torpedoes and man take a massive amount of damage as the one of the Bensons on your team has shot out torpedoes and it looks like it might hit the Shariatsuyu here. It's pretty close. Maybe he can dodge it. He hit one. He hit one torpedo on the Shariatsuyu, taking him down to 2,000 hit points. That is a huge damage to the Shariatsuyu, taking him down well under a quarter hit points. And as we saw the Bismarck bot go down, anything happening on your side right now? Is we
Yeah,
have a
there's actually a real interesting play how they use that kind of bot to kind of play the forward shield while the Bensons actually snuck up and utilized being behind it. While enemy fire was going at him, they were able to kind of sneak around and reposition themselves. It was actually a good play there.
Absolutely. We see a aircraft carrier battle here going with three sets. So we have an air superiority Shikaku, I assume, going at regular dispersion of planes. Here's Aratago, the Kantai collections, our Kantai Joint Forces, Tago is now up to C and is about to start capping C as
Oh, we see it looks like the carrier's going for a blind torp drop into the smoke, trying to hit Big Zach as he is kind of being a nuisance up there, holding down that B line. We'll see if these are able to. Oh,
they
he's able to dodge successfully, it looks like, and
absolutely.
while he's spreading his smoke, so
While that
he's
was
getting kind of
going
a
on,
twofer.
one of the Bensons hit and killed the Kudasov uh, from Kantai. That's a huge Kudasov with the smoke and the range and the ability to set those fires is a huge disadvantage for losing that first. We have lost the one Bismarck on Black Widow Company, and then we now have lost one Kudasov. And we'll see which one is going to be more important toward the end of the game. But I would think that Kudasov actually being a real person over the bot will be a little bit more advantageous to have over the other one. So how's it look on the setup? We don't see a Chappie on the board anymore as Kantai Collection now captures B. As what's happening here? Oh, the Chappie has showed up. It looks like he is just going to be running radar behind the island.
Yeah,
That's a
he's
very,
setting up
very
quite well, playing a good sneak position, utilizing those rocks to kind of block enemy fire from that area, and he's kind of flinging those shots over the gaps.
absolutely. Now, as we see, uh, Hot Shot is the enemy Shikaku here for Black Widow Company. They are sending over their planes maybe to try to get some spots as we have 3 people sitting in the smoke. North Carolina is there. And everybody knows the North Carolina AA is pretty much God tier here at Tier 8 as Big Wall of Torps is coming in at 2 Bismarcks and a Benson here.
You're actually seeing a double set of this while Jacob Knight has actually just unleashed the full torpedo spread of the Shiriatsuyu on the other side. And these guys, Cruiser Oyudakai and Destroyer Johnson MK1 are going to be in for a torpedo wall coming in right at him.
Absolutely, we are seeing the power of that torpedo reload, firing 16 torpedoes onto these people, and looks like the North Carolina is going to take. Looks like 3 torpedoes from what I can see, and that's going to put him well under his hit point total. He's down to 5,600 hit points after taking 3 torpedoes. And it looks like the North Carolina here is going to go down pretty close here as he is trying to get his repair off, and he is getting just
the Chappie has fallen.
Bombarded. What happened to the Chappie
So
here?
Righteous Fury just got nuked by Musashi Kai battleship.
Absolutely. Musashi
Bismarck
Kai
looks like he landed
Bismarck.
a really great shot on top of him.
Outstanding. Apparently, we missed that one, so we'll turn our camera here. We don't want to miss any more action as the North Carolina, it looks like he is about to go down. He's down to 800. Here we go, and there goes the North Carolina from the Kudasov, burned him down as we see another torpedo wall coming in at the smoke on the bottom. Those are Shiriatsuyu torps. Shiriatsuyu torps. We'll see if we hit anything. It doesn't look like they made it. And then the second wall of torpedoes coming down toward
both Bensons did a good job
of deniability.
Both the Bensons have done a good job of shielding the North Carolina and the Amagi over in that smoke plume, which has actually just relieved itself. So we'll see if this torp wall is going to be effective at all, or if everyone's going to be able to dodge.
Well, with the Chappie gone, the radar capability of Black Widow Company is pretty much non-existent here at this point. We do still have a Belfast alive for Kantai. Absolutely an interesting, still an interesting choice. It doesn't look like they're really trying to push any advantage here, as they are now down by 40 points, and they are staying down by 40 points. You might see. They will be catching up here because they do have the 2-cap advantage here, 2-cap to 1 advantage over time. As we see a big nasty wall of torpedoes, looks like Benson torps going in at the Amagi and the North Carolina, but doesn't look like they hit anything. What's happening?
Very good dodge. It looks like Jacob Knight is now pushing into B-cap, trying to contest it to get back that point advantage and not lose anymore. While Big Zach has just started to lay a smoke plume blocking Corrosive and Satchmo, which should shield them and give them a little bit of ideal blind fire.
Absolutely.
Onto the enemies.
Now, from looking at it from our side over here on the Kantai joint forces, we are having 2 people actually in the smoke, and we have Battleship Musashi working his way to try to get into the smoke, and he's taking damage all the way up there. I don't see any other flanking maneuvers going on right now. I take it back. There's an Otago. Their Otago has gone down to F9 and has started to flank the section, maybe get across torpedoes coming in from that direction. I don't think that he's spotted yet. Let me know if you can see the Otago coming in.
He is actually spotted now. The Otago has been lit up, so they are aware. Let's see what they'll have to do. They're going to have to readjust for this.
As they cannot see anything that is in that smoke, so I cannot see anything in that smoke. And it looks like somebody took some massive torps, or they just disappeared into that smoke there.
They just disappeared. They were at the end of the run.
They were at the end of the range there. It looked pretty interesting.
Smoking V formation that they have laid out, Black Widow Company, is actually quite advantaged. All the team is able to move kind of through this V shape in here, so they're able to secure the cap and cross through without being detected.
How many people do you have in that smoke? Apparently the entire team is in the smoke.
One. So the only Jacob Knight is handing outside, while the remaining boats are all within moving. No one is standing still. They are moving and progressing through this kind of smoke V-shape L formation.
Absolutely. As we see more torpedo walls coming in, one from the Benson, one from the Shiriatsuyu, and the Otago is conversely cross-torping the smoke. And maybe they can pick some off as...
we might see an impact here onto the Kudasov. He's going to take one, whether or not. Let's see.
Oh, wow. Okay, he took a big, massive chunk of damage there. At least least 20,000 or 15,000 damage there, as we see the Bismarck, Destroyer Buck, and Battleship Musashi Kai are now starting to make their way toward the other side of the island at E6, E7, trying to flank. I'm not really sure what's going on here with nobody being visible. It is very difficult to see reasonings behind this, because that once they come around this corner, as we see Destroyer Buck taking one torpedo from a
Kudasov
defensive wall
is
torpedo.
fallen down while Corrosive took 2 torpedoes from that last barrage, and I see we have another set coming in. This torpedo strike by the carrier could
absolutely.
prove to be a very interesting thing. So let's see how many planes get through.
Let's see. It looks like 4 planes are going to be able to make their drop, as the Benson is now sacrificing himself and taking that Shikaku torpedo. That's a very good, very massive prop for any carrier that can hit a destroyer with torpedoes, as the Otago is now down to 300 hit points, and is just taking massive damage from, looks like, a Shiriatsuyu and a Benson that are firing at him. He will be going down very, very shortly unless he can get a heal off. And now the Amagi in the North Carolina, the smoke is dissipated. Now they're being focused by everything else that is left on Kantai's
they
team.
Should be falling quickly
there goes the Amagi.
There goes Corrosive.
There goes the Amagi. And here comes the North Carolina, is now being focused down. They might be able to pick up Destroyer Buck here. There he is, Shiriatsuyu dropping 2 sets of torpedoes, or 2 walls of torpedoes there, using his torpedo reload. And Shiriatsuyu has now killed the Otago.
Double play.
Man, what an interesting game here. I don't think that it's gonna be too little, too late, because their Bismarck is still 20,000 hit points, and Belfast is 30,000, and their Benson are just focusing down the North Carolina, and he is going to go down here eventually.
Taking a beating.
He is going to be down, and there's all the battleships down. They have no air superiority anymore. They have no air cover or air defensive capabilities with the North Carolina and everybody going down there. It is an interesting thing that they did not push their advantage early, when they definitely had
that kind of stall there. Could
have
really cost it.
Definitely cost them a little bit, as we see now. It's going to be only a matter of time here. The Benson and the Shiriatsuyu can get into some pretty good positions here, but
and they both are currently at full health, but we'll see how long this lasts.
I don't think it'll last very long, because of the Belfast radar capability. As soon as he drops down, that Belfast can get into can move up now and be a little more safer, because it will take both destroyers a little bit of time to penetrate the Belfast armor to kill him. The Belfast radar is going to be huge coming up here, I believe.
Jacob is taking a good flanking position onto Battleship Musashi, and he has unleashed both racks of his torpedo launchers, so those will be moving in. We'll see if he is able to avoid.
All right, here we go.
Meanwhile, while Ragnarok has lost another cross-section moving in. Yes, those are spotted by the plane, so good job on him there.
This is a very interesting. Oh, and here comes, we are now seeing Benson Torps. And he will be able to dodge through the middle of these torpedoes, which is a pretty good. And here's the crosswall torps coming from the Shiriatsuyu. Looks like he will take 2 torpedoes. No,
yes,
just the one.
Fallen.
He has just taken the 1 torpedo as the Benson goes down to the other Benson.
Jacob Knight and Hotshot is all that remains, so we'll see how long Jacob is able to hold his position, but this is only a matter of time, I think, due to the air.
And it looks like they have called it, Black Widow Company has called GG, and I believe that will be the end of it. I think it's just a matter of just a couple of seconds here, as Jacob Knight is now about to be going down, and the Hotshot is now making his way toward A, as are the Kantai's Shukaku carrier. Carrier Zuiho is up at C here, and it's interesting to see what a great game, man. So let's go ahead.
Really interesting.
Really interesting. I'm not quite sure why why Black Widow Company decided to sit there in the open and be defensive. And you guys can see how the top side of this map really gives an advantage with not having to use the smoke all the time, because once your smoke is down, that's it. you're done for about a minute and a half. And whereas if you can smoke up in between the islands and move from one island to the other and defend yourself a little bit better and maybe not be seen and not have to rely so much on the smoke, I think that was a big advantage of Kantai here in this game.
Well, and it was interesting that actually we were commenting in the beginning of the stall for pushing for that C cap. It was we were 4 minutes into battle and C was still uncontested while A and B was controlled by Black Widow Company. But that kind of resolve and fortitude paid off, and they were able to, I think, huddle themselves, and they wanted to move as a single forcing unit, pushing
That
through to
was
B.
savage.
And then when the timing was right and they felt they had the advantage, then they pushed into that C point, which was left uncontested anyways at that point.
Absolutely, absolutely, and what he's making a valiant effort to hide himself here, and on the hopes that
He's not giving up. No,
no.
he's making it difficult.
Absolutely, as the Shikaku planes are now spotting him permanently, and here comes the Belfast destroyer. Johnson is going to come around and probably finish him off here in just a couple of volleys, and there he goes. The Shiratsu did get a set of torps off. It doesn't look
He was
like
able to get 2 plus a reload.
plus a 2 extra after that came off, and it doesn't look like it's going to hit anybody, as they had seen. Probably the Belfast had its hydro up, and they were able to see the torpedoes.
Gave a good spot.
Absolutely.
And we saw that power. So that Shiriatsuyu, with its ability to put a both massive offensive or defensive torp wall in the water, played a key role on both sides.
Absolutely. An excellent game on both sides. That is game 1, with Kantai forces taking game number 1, and we will be taking. They have a 10-minute break scheduled, and now they can take their 10-minute break, or they don't have to take their 10-minute break. But we will break down a little bit of the action here, as we saw. Kntaijoint forces going up 1-0 over against Black Widow Company. Now it'd be interesting to see. We will swap teams here for the next game, and me and Mr. Swole will be looking at the opposite teams, obviously, and we will see. We'll see how the strategy changes. Now, what do you think? Now putting the pressure on Black Widow Company, going down 1-0, what do you think that they're going to have to do to really pull it back? As we saw how good the Shiriatsuyu torps can be, throwing out 16 torpedoes as opposed to the 10 of the Benson, or conversely, now that the Fubuki is no longer tier 8, the 9 torps that one can put out. What do you think? How do you think that those played?
Yeah, I think what we're going to see kind of moving into this next rep, when we're looking at Mountain Range, I do not believe that Black Widow Company played necessarily a bad game. There was a stall mix-up, I believe, outside of that B point, about 12 minutes in, that kind of could have been used more to advantage to kind of keep that push and move Kantai kind of in that corner and keep them isolated at C. That didn't play out. But otherwise, I think really for them, it's keeping their cool and not let that first defeat kind of ruin their morality, how they're feeling about the game right now. So I think if they just play cool, calm, patience, and do a very similar gameplay. I mean, let's not forget they did have the 2-point advantage. They were able to secure those caps very quickly. The L smoke formation was a very successful play for that. It was just moving beyond that kind of played. It was a key kind of torpedo spread that changed the battle there.
Torpedoes can change. You can have a huge advantage, but if somebody takes a couple of torpedoes and they go down to torpedoes, it is a very tide turning. With the amount of damage that the Japanese torpedoes can do, it is a very tide turning instance when you see things like this happen. On the other hand, the Belfast survived the end of the game, as opposed to the Chappie.
I never saw him on my side, so he played a very good game.
He set in islands and set in the smoke most of the time, which allowed the 2 Bismarcks on Kantai to really kind of huddle with him and turtle with him, and as he was able to give hydro support, and at times whenever it was up and ready, the radar support, as opposed to we saw the Chappie on BWC going down very early in a very nasty shot by one of the Bismarcks, which is rare because we all know the German German dispersion is very unfavorable for the user over 10 kilometers. So it was a very excellent shot. Very nice. Congratulations on that. Very disgusting shot.
Yeah, it was a very good. And the power of the Belfast, we talk about the Flint being a banned ship from the game due to having that kind of quad setup. But you see with the Belfast, you have the ability to fire HEAP, and you do get the trio of hydro, smoke, and radar. So that power packing punch kind of at that tier same level, we'll see if this continues, and maybe they put that also on a different ship list. But hey, it's game for now, and it's proven its worth. It really has, even being a tier down for the class. It's still proving that power of those trio of consumables can really change the tide of a game.
Absolutely. I think the Belfast here, as we were talking about Belfast, being the ability to bring that smoke, opens up so many different opportunities as opposed to bringing in a Chappie or a New Orleans or a Mogami. It brings in a very different dynamic to the team, to where you don't have to rely on the destroyers as much to smoke, as we saw Kantai here bringing in the smoke and the radar with the Belfast, and they were able to really just kind of turtle, and it was very impressive for the performance of the Belfast, and played very well by Kantai. And on the other hand, I don't foresee the Chappie going away. But if you bring a Chappie, you're going to need to bring an extra destroyer, as we're seeing, because you're going to need that extra set of smoke, and with an extra set of smoke, and you can bring a Kudasov. You kind of do the same thing, but I think having that in one package opens up more opportunities for different ship setups and different team setups as we are going. Going
I appreciate
forward.
that in you, young buck.
I agree. And Mountain Range should prove to be kind of an interesting map. We also saw this map play a lot of games into ranked
Absolutely.
this season.
That's really
And so as the teams transitioned kind of in that middle cap point, which is kind of left to that awkward set of long bowing islands, which lateral cap is going to be which time? Are the teams both going to choose the same and kind of run into a huddle position there? Or is it going to be kind of left open where one side takes the western cap and the other side takes the eastern, and then the battle probably from that cross range moving into B? Or do we see setups where battleships kind of utilize that island and block a lateral flank while being able to fire and cover the other two caps?
All right, as we all know, as we move into game number 2, we will be on Mountain Range. The C cap is on the eastern side, and there's quite a few little bitty islands over there. B is obviously right in the middle, as it usually is, and then A is off to the western side of the map, and it's pretty open. And on the very far side of the map, you have little islands, and separating in between A and B, you have a line, or the mountain range, as it were, right there. Now, I know in the ranked play, what happens? Top team would usually go down, and they would take A, or they would charge into B, and the other team would use the opposite cap to either sit or try to set up flanks. I foresee us having people right up on these islands here in the middle, in between A and B, and hopefully one of the teams can get B very quickly, as the game has now come up. And
All right, let us load in.
as there we go. I will be on Black Widow Company. As you guys can see here, here's that mountain range here. This will be right in the middle of the map. B will be in this general area. C will be here on the eastern side, and then the western side here is A. So it's a big open spot, A and B. C is probably the most secured defensively, so I foresee people, one team charging into B and then running over to take C, and then probably trying to defend B from C. That's what I predict. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I think that you'll probably. I think it's going to be a game again of who runs into what lateral cap. Depending on that spawning position and the deployment, C does offer a little bit better areas where the island cover kind of blocks both B and C more appropriately. But if you're spawned over kind of grouped in that western side, it wouldn't be unreasonable to push that A side and move for B. It really won't matter. It's going to kind of come down to that who is going to slip up first, who is going to push first, who is going to flank first.
Absolutely. As we do see, it looks like they are going to take a Belfast again. Kantai is what I'm seeing here now, and also another Shiriatsuyu. So it's going to be the same. Looks like it's going to be the same mock-up here. We'll see if Black Widow Company was able to find a bot here, and or they were going to be able to find a player, or they're going to have to rely on that Bismarck bot yet again.
Yeah, hopefully they're able to pick up a real player, as we know the power of a real player would do. Although they did kind of utilize it in the beginning there for a success. They were kind of able to let it fill the gap of holding down the B cap while they were able to kind of reposition themselves, group up, and kind of avoid getting nuked themselves. So the real players were left to kind of be secure while that bot kind of held B for them at the moment. So a good time for the AI to rush in, we can say.
All right, here we go. As oh well, I apologize for that. Doesn't look like BWC has made their way into the game as of yet. So, I mean, I really can't talk too much about the team dynamic here with a Belfast and a Shiriatsuyu. Now, honestly, when I saw a Shiriatsuyu and a Belfast coming in, I'm like, oh man, these things are going to get obliterated. But you should be surprised at how good these boats are compared to their T8 counterparts. Being able to put out 16 torps as opposed to Shimma's 15, or conversely, the radar hydro combination that the Belfast brings, and smoke over the Chappie's radar. Very impressive setup. Very impressive team dynamic that Kantai has pushed here in the first game, and we'll see if they can carry over their momentum into the second game.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you look at BWC? Or what do you look at now that we've already talked about BWC and what they need to do to catch up here in this second game? What do you see Kantai does to have to secure and close out this setup?
I think that we've seen that Kansai can play well under pressure there. As for a moment, it was looking kind of intense for them being two caps down. So they know how to hold their cool when the intensity gets up. So I think for them, again, it'll be kind of sticking to that same play and perhaps being a little more aggressive in securing that second cap, if it's just for the ease of mind of securing that when it was left open. So I think we're, yeah, looking for that kind of play here. Staying with what they know, utilizing the tools of that Belfast. Again, that smoke hydro radar combo can be great. You can sneak up into a real area knowing that you're secure, put that smoke to secure yourself, pop the radar, and let a team essentially decimate an enemy who's not expecting it. So
Absolutely. Now, I still think that they are allowed up to 10 minutes in between the matches here, and it looks like BWC is going to take full advantage of the 10-minute breakdown. I think that they need to come in. They need to get their. Do you think that they change up their team dynamic at all? With seeing how effective the Belfast was, as here they come now. It
yeah,
looks
let's see.
like
Oh,
it looks
oh,
like
there's
Righteous
a Belfast shadow.
look
They
like
bring in a Belfast themselves.
looks like they're going to go ahead and bring their Belfast as well instead of a Chappie. But we'll see how we go when we actually load up into the game. So good luck to both teams in game number 2. Kntaijoint Forces is now up by 1-0, and we're going to go
In a quick
into.
correction, we had called that Kntaijoint Forces was the third seed and Black Widow Company was second. That is flip-flop. So Kantai Forces came in with the second seed while Black Widow Company was third seed.
Yes, that's right. I have made the change, and you guys will see that change here in just a second. So, he's restarting his client. All right, so it looks like we are having a player issue over on Black Widow Company. They are having a player issue, and they are restarting their client. So they still have enough time in between the games here at the 10-minute mark. Getting pretty close to the 10-minute mark now of them being able to fix it and get that person in here before the time is up for them.
Hopefully he's able to get that resolved. Otherwise, I believe by technicality, a bot would have to take his place. So
That is unfortunate for, as we saw, we saw the bot in the last game, and it did do stuff for them early. It did take a lot of heat off of the rest of the team. The rest of the team was able to get damage on Kantai, and obviously we're talking about BWC here missing, having one player short, and absolutely using the bot, and I would too. I mean, honestly, if I was one player short, I probably would use the Bismarck over any of the others because it's just so tanky, and it will charge in. The bot will go to the cap and do what you're supposed to do to try to win the game.
yeah, it'll charge in a point as we saw the secondaries, although not fully maximized as a player's own purchased one
And
would
here we
do.
go. Here he
It
is.
still has the AoE bubble or fire from the secondaries within a reasonable, still long range. So as it's rushing into its death, maybe a secondary sets a fire here and there, forces out a damage repair, and then the real players are able to capitalize on that.
Absolutely. As looks like the last player from BWC has come in to the game. Now we're just ready, starting in 5 seconds, boys. Can we still have our bot? They like the bot here as we are now loading in, and we will see. Call it out when we go, and I'll let you go ahead and go first since Kantai is in the lead here, so they have the right to pick what side they were going to be on, top and or bottom, and we will see once we load in.
Yeah. I'll fill you in once I get myself loaded.
Absolutely. All right, let's go run down what we have here. It looks like Shikaku, North Carolina, a Turpitz actually here, which we didn't see in the last game, and a Magi, Kudasov, Belfast, 2 Bensons, and a Shiriatsuyu. What you got on your side, homie? It looks like. Are you not loaded in, or maybe you have muted yourself again?
Party, I have muted myself. So Kantai is running with Shikaku for their battleships. North Carolina, double Bismarck. Cruiser duty is going to be taken care of by the Belfast, a Kudasov, and 1 Atago. And Shiriatsuyu Benson are taking up the destroyer duties.
Absolutely. And it looks like Kantai has a pretty favorable BWC has a pretty favorable spawn rate here. You got a Magi, North Carolina, Kudasov, Benson on one side of the map, and then Turpitz, Belfast, and Shiriatsuyu on the other side of the map, as now they are pinging to go toward the C4 line to try to meet it up.
And over here on Kantai, we see an immediate blitz. Shiriatsuyu spawned right out in front of B, and he is making his way there, while most of the fleet is actually spawned, I should say, dead center line with the B cap. So we see a Zerg towards B with a small group moving off to C.
Oh my gosh, I miss my own drops, guys. I miss the drops on myself here, and that is terrible. What a terrible player I am. Either way, boys, looks like we have Benson and looks like Kudasov. 1 Benson going toward the middle, and then another Benson headed toward the Charlie cap as the Shiriatsuyu, Belfast, and Turpitz are trying to make their way over to the B cap from the A side of the mountains here on the sea.
And we see the Shiriatsuyu over here by Kantai also making that blitz, hiding pretty much right in line with those Tort planes flying overhead. So we'll see that the Black Widow's Tort planes might be able to spot him off here.
Absolutely. Now we have 1 Benson. We do have 1 Benson in the B cap here now, skirting the edges here, trying to dodge detection from the airplanes. Is now the there we go. That should kill me now that I'm on fire and flooding. The BWC's Shokaku is now engaging some of the fighters to try to protect their Benson here as Kantai Shiryatsuyu is now forced out of the cap because he is spotted. I don't think that
Yeah,
they
we
are
see a
going to
big,
shoot.
huge push. All fleets have seemed to be both sides taking the eastern approach, while A is left unimposed here by anyone. I see no one over here on Kantai. I don't know if you
Uh,
have anybody from
big, big,
BWC moving
big,
that way.
big Zach has now been spotted in his smoke, and is now taking a heavy amount of damage. Well, maybe he's not taking the damage, but they are putting some shots on him, and it does now look like he is no longer spotted. So he only took about 2,000 hit points, and I don't see anybody from BWC heading toward A at all, as
Hopefully he's
they
moved to
can't
that smoke
see.
plume, as we have a double crossing torp wall moving right through that smoke cloud.
From the Shiryatsuyu, we do now see it.
Shiryatsuyu and Benson, you have actually a double crossing of torps here.
Here we go, as the Kutasoff, North Carolina, and Benson are now in the sea and are trying to make their way around. I do not know what's on the other side of that, and it looks like the Benson Big Zach is now moving out of his smoke to dodge these, as he saw from the planes as they were coming in. He is
Yeah,
going to be
good
in
job by the
trouble.
plane spotting
He's
those.
going to be in trouble if he is now taking. He's going to take some of these torps. He is donezo, my friend. One, there we go. There you go, Benson. What a nice torpedo wall. What a nice cross tromp to force him out of his smoke into the second wall of torpedoes. Good on you, Kantai, for that.
Hey, you might be having a good torpedo strike. Oh, this is going to be some dodging through the smoke plume here. It looks like Battleship Musashi has taken a torp from. I do not know who that was that fired across
It was
from B.
it was the Benson that just passed away here. We'll send his family a letter. Big Zach has those were Big Zach's torps as his final death row, as he did go down to that cross drop there, or cross torpedo wall. That was very impressive. The North Carolina here has been spotted. Is sitting up next to the island here. We have Satchmo, Davy D, and Ragnarok over here at Charlie, trying to position themselves in defensive ways. The Belfast is now trying to make his way over from A. He has had a long way to go, making his way up to the D7 line now, as the Amagi and the Tirpitz are holding fast at the C and D5 line, and we see the Shikaku heading over toward where A would be here at this point.
Yeah, interesting. I was going to say the cap over on A is still wide open and up for takes, which could play a good role for Black Widow if they want to keep that points advantage.
Absolutely. Now another torpedo wall coming at the Kutasoff, Bismarck, and Bismarck that are sitting down here at the G5, G6 line.
That in you, young buck.
And it looks like most
like
of this should be dodged. Maybe
Destroyer
one
Buck
torpedo striking.
may take one. We'll see. We'll go in and see. Nope. Very, very nice, skillful dodges and reversing from Kantai. As now we see two people here. The Belfast, North Carolina.
Jacob Knight looks to be taking a torp strike from the destroyer while also taking crossfire from battleships and destroyers. Let's see if he can make it out.
I don't see where is that.
Jacob Knight over fighting between A and B area.
Okay.
Looks like he
I
was
see.
blitzing
This
himself
Shiryatsu,
over
yes.
to A. Yeah.
Yes, we do see this. And it looks like he has dodged. He will take a massive bomb from carrier Zuiho in. Man, that's as we all know that bombers do massive damage against destroyers here, as he's now going to be dropped on. Let's see if he can take it.
It looks
out.
like B cap might be secured, so finally Kantai will have a points, keeping that residual point kind of moving along.
Absolutely, and interesting to see the Shiryatsuyu heading over toward A. It's what it looks like, trying to dodge all the torpedoes and the bombers, as it doesn't look like he was able to finish off the job, carrier Zuiho, with the bombers. Unfortunately for carrier Zuiho, but they will be.
And here comes some Kantai fighters to also try to keep it spotted. I believe.
Absolutely. Keep those destroyers spotted, so maybe somebody can get a shot on them. That would be absolutely fantastic. But an interesting dynamic here. We have 3 boats over at Charlie for BWC, 2 boats in the middle, and then 1 destroyer over at A, now capping A as a last ditch effort. But we see a Benson now has just popped up on the screen here. Destroyer Man, I can't.
Hatsuyuki.
Hatsuyuki, I'm sorry, I apologize for that. Hatsuyuki is now firing on the Shiriatsuyu as he will be spotted by the fighters that are over there, and it looks like the Benson will be able to take him down as he's trying to get his smoke up, and he needs to slow down quite a bit to get to be protected. As we see off in the background here, Davey D is now firing on the Atago Battleship Yamato Kai from very, very big range, and I do not know who's shooting at the Tirpitz here, face-fisted, but there's several boats
Yeah,
shooting
again,
at it. As
the double Bismarcks have grouped themselves up in the Kujasev smoke, and they are able to fire without return fire pretty much onto that Bismarck, which has actually just disappeared on our side.
And
so.
Destroyer Hatsuyuki has taken down the Shiriatsuyu. That is a huge disadvantage. Not a lot of torps are going to be coming out from Kantai at the moment, as they have lost 2 of their 3 destroyers. Their 3rd destroyer remaining is over at Charlie.
And that's actually a very big play, because not only does it take out the Shiriatsuyu from the fight, it also allows them, Kantai, to cap A pretty much free mode here. So they'll have 2 points over to the 1.
Absolutely.
So this is going to force Black Widow Company to really push for that 2nd point, or to annihilate some enemy ships very quickly.
Absolutely. It is a very, very interesting setup that we have here, as Cruiser Oyodo Kai has now been spotted. He's been spotted pretty much the whole game, but he is bow in, so he's not going to take too much damage unless he gets on fire, which looks like he is on fire, as there is 4 people very low health on the Kudasov, very low health on the Belfast, are over here at Charlie now, and they are just trying to get any kind of damage that they can on Cruiser Oyodo Kai, as what we see here at B is firing all out of the smoke at the Amagi and Tirpitz. They are wide open here, spotted the entire time. I don't understand what they were thinking here, pulling these guys back into the middle and just basically taking all of that damage for no gain at this point.
Yeah, Davey D is going to be getting hammered down. It looks like all the Bismarcks have turned their turrets to face, and not only that, he has a North Carolina and Belfast waiting for him if he tries to come around that corner.
The Belfast is still there. We cannot see him over on the BWC side, as 2 shots come in at the Kudasov, and one of them hit for an overpin, looks like. And here we go, Amagi is
Great dodges by Cruiser Oyodo Kai here
on the torpedoes, as he was able to return fire on Davey D and take out the Kudasov, which will bid them 1 more boat that has smoke unable to continue here as they go down.
Belfast Hydra looks to have spotted those torps launched early, so we're going to see another successful dodge.
Yeah, there we are. We see it over here on the bottom right corner of the screen here. There's a successful dodge as the smoke from the Kudasov has run out now, and the double Bismarcks and Atago and the Kudasov has now been spotted by the planes and by everybody else, because everybody knows their detection range is huge in battleships. And as we see up here onto the top left of the screen about the E5, E6 line, the Benson... the Benson has now moved up from A after capping A into B, and now he's just peppering away, face-fisted here in the Tirpitz. Amazing and really nice long-range shots, hopefully trying to set that Tirpitz on fire. And as we see, the Amagi is now being shot. The Atago took a huge amount of damage. I don't know who that was from, but
Kantai seems to be moving up through B in a very strong line formation right now, and they all seem to be coordinated on who they're firing on. So we're seeing some devastating fire being put out.
Absolutely. All right, so Cruiser Oyodo Kai is continuing to reverse away from the counter push here at Charlie, and we have to really give it credit for Kantai here, now pushing their advantage through the middle, as I believe they will sweep along like a book and close the game out here.
Really strong flanking maneuver. They got to kind of hurdle over and see.
And there's no counter that that BWC can do right now. Both of their 2 of their 3 destroyers are out of action. They cannot throw torpedo walls in there as an area of deniability. There's not much that they can do. So we're seeing what looks like the beginning of the end here for BWC, as the North Carolina now goes down after taking an airstrike. As they took an airstrike, surprisingly enough, North Carolina taking torpedo shots from the air, which you wouldn't really necessarily think, and then somebody was able to finish him off. Did you see who finished finished him off there?
Yeah, I was actually not observing that part of the battlefield when when the death happened. Sorry, I missed that.
Absolutely. Cruiser,
But I will say, Destroyer Johnson in his Belfast played a critical role over there by sea, helping Cruiser Oyodakai
spot the
uh,
torpedoes and
spot the torpedo, spot the enemies. Again, that trio of smoke, hydro, radar showing its power here.
all right, and we do have Cruiser Oyoto Kai here now down to 26,000 hit points and continuing to take fire. It looks like they're trying
But
to
he's getting
focus
smoke
fire on
plumed
him.
here. Yeah, Destroyer Kuryoshi Kai is moving in the Shiriatsu, providing a smoke screen. So this should hopefully get him secured up and
This
allow
will
him.
keep him from losing all of his hit points all at once, as we see the Bismarck, Kudasov, and the other Bismarck now moving forward. I believe the Atago is there somewhere. We can't see him because of his beautiful detection range of 9.1 if you have the concealment expert ability. As now Destroyer Hatsuyuki has made his way down to where the Shiriatsuyu, North Carolina, and Belfast are to kind of counter the counter push, I guess.
The Atago had fallen earlier in the battle. That's why we're not seeing him yet.
What? The Atago? Oh, he is already down. Oh, well, there you go. I was wondering where he went. I did not see him.
He went to the bottom. He's hunting for
I knew.
barnacles now.
Absolutely. It's the Amagi Corrosive is now down to 7,000 hit points. Face Fisted is down to 44,000 hit points. The Kudasov is now taking damage from the Turpits. But the amount of damage that
Righteous Fury had just fallen down here.
Righteous Fury in the Belfast going down. What did he go down to? I don't know. Maybe he knows. But as we see the Turpits now taking damage from the Kudasov and double Bismarck secondaries. Now that he's getting behind the island, he will be safe for just a little bit. Maybe he can get repair on and maybe heal up some health because he is taking a massive amount of damage. As he took 2 torpedoes there, it looks like 3 torpedoes from another very, very nice drop from Carrier Zuiho in the Shukaku. As now he will not be spotted. The BWC is just getting handled here as both of their remaining battleships are down to under 10,000 hit points. It looks like the Turpits is now flooding out, and he will fall to flood there from Carrier Zuiho. A very nice drop on them.
Good job on Kantai, keeping up this pressure here and really sealing in their enemies.
And here we go. Amagi Corrosive is now down to 8,000 hit points and taking damage. Hotshot is now taking damage from the Kudasov and the Bismarck. As we are, this is another very handily prepared game. We'll see what happens in game number 3.
Kantai came in strong. They executed well, and again that play. Not really worried about that lateral cap at first. They were able to move in, get that middle cap secured, and then as the battle ensued, and they saw that Black Widow was trying to take advantage of the open A side, they quickly sent over a counter. And was able to not only take out the Shiriatsuyu by Black Widow Company, they were able to secure that A cap and hold a 2-point advantage there and really allow them to flank and keep the enemy pushed out to the east side of the map.
Absolutely. As we see here, 32 planes shot down by Hotshot in the Shukaku, 35 planes shot down by Carrier Zuiho in his Shukaku. North Carolina took down 16, 8 from the Benson, 5 from the Belfast, and 1 from the Bismarck. As we see the pretty much total domination here, as only 1 kill was able to be put down upon Kantai here. We have 2 kills on the Belfast, 2 kills on the Benson, 1 on the North Carolina, 2 on the Shukaku, which is surprising in these games. You don't really see that too much. As we do also have Bismarck taking 1, and then, of course, we have us at -1 because we've had to kill ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Good times.
Absolutely. So very excellent game here. Another game. This will be 2-0 lead. Now with the comfortable lead, I would say a comfortable lead, but don't get too complacent, Kantai, because BWC is a very, very good team, and they can come back. They can come back to force this into a game 5, as we're going to go into a game 3. They will need all of the game 5 to continue on, but they will need to pull out this next game somehow.
Yeah, it's really going to put the pressure on Black Widow Company here, and it does allow Kantai to kind of play a little bit more reserved. knowing that even in a loss, there is still another win for them. Whereas on the other side for Black Widow, if they go 3 out here, this is going to change, and the season will be put to an end.
All right, so though the season's not quite over, if they do, whoever
Oh,
wins this
sorry,
will go
sorry.
into
Yes,
the
that's right.
finals next week against the winner of Western Fleet or APOC, which we have done Armored Knights and APOC last week, and then we did APOC and Western Fleet the week before. As we see here, the winner of this will take into the finals, and the loser of this match will take on the loser of Western Fleet and APOC in the best of the best of 5 for the bronze place, third place match, and so we can finish out because there are rewards that will be received from Wargaming. A flag saying, "Hey, we finished first," and several doubloon packages to go out from each team, from Wargaming to each team that they can distribute as they see fit. But it's a very good thing very good thing to see. Wargaming supporting the leagues as they are growing. This is the third season of the league. So let's get back into a little bit of game here. Star of that game for you, sir.
Really, I believe it was the Benson who went over and secured that A cap. I think the battle was well fought and still kind of up for grabs at that point. But once he was able to take down the Shiriatsuyu and move in and secure A cap, that kind of really just took the pressure off of Kantai and allowed a complete flanking of everyone over to the east side. So he was able
Absolutely.
to push up north and kind of corral the rest of the team.
I actually have 2 stars here. Number one is the Shokaku Carriers Weho being able to drop onto a North Carolina and not lose every bit of planes that you have and take him down to where he was actionable to kill. And also the Belfast player down there with that North Carolina being able to tank all of that damage and being able to spot for him. Those are very good supporting plays on both parts. Now the Shikaku was able to take down 2 players as opposed to Belfast just being able to defend his own player. So those are my 2 stars. Good games for both sides. Turning point in this game, I think, and on my side, the turning point in this game is when Shiriatsuyu took that massive hit from the Shikaku and then was eventually taken down by the Benson over at A, which opened up A cap for them.
Yeah, I agree. That was a big turning point there, and yeah, I want to say good job on so many torpedo strikes. Proved to look pointless due to those CVs being able to spot them from near launch. So it gave the enemy teams on both sides while they were fighting there a lot of time to move away and avoid that torpedo damage. So great job on them.
Absolutely. We do 2 very, very strong teams throughout the season as we're moving into our game number 3. We'll go ahead and skip that, what I was going to say, and go into game 3. We are going to be on loop. Now, can you tell
Yeah,
us
looking
any?
at
I was going to say, can you tell us anything about loop here? As A is on the left side, western side, B is in the middle, and C is on the right-hand side of the map or the eastern side.
this map, I think, puts a lot of interesting plays in the mix. Given the island layouts and where the open lanes are for shooting, and and given, let's say, the teams take out the exact same lineups here, you're going to see some really interesting kind of setups to try to maybe bait enemies to take a line while a torpedo wall is moving through, putting you in pretty much an maneuverable, tough, sticky situation. Or do we see the teams kind of play knowing that well in advance and playing more of a passive lateral, staying more to the outside islands around the caps that are ensuing, and maybe not even worrying necessarily about the B point, looking for more of that lateral play.
Absolutely. Now, I do see a lot of early movements, uh, early movements going into some of these caps and trying to get those positions on the islands. I think that's what we're going to see here, as more of a early fast push by the teams, and we'll see how the late game works out.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see is kind of times of intermittent, maybe what feels like nothingness, and then bursts are going to come out as boats cross through those proper areas, setting up those line of sight shots, setting up those torpedo
Setting
strikes.
up the torpedo walls and everything. So being up 2 games to 0, the Kantide needs to not be complacent here and continue to put the pressure on BWC. And conversely, the game is up now. If you want to jump in, and that they can put you on the other here. Conversely, BWC needs to step up their game here in the third game, and I would like to see something from them. A very very nice play, maybe a flank or something that will take them into and push this into a game 4.
Yeah, we saw that they have the ability to make those critical plays throughout this. Is it's just getting that group execution know and win. Will they keep the same boat layouts for this second map? Will they do any altering? Will there be any roster changes? Will they?
Looking at Kantai here, I believe they're going to go with the same setup with a Belfast and a Shiriatsuyu again. And but I would like to see what Belfast what if they make any changes here. That would definitely be an idea at this point.
Yeah, so I'm sure they'll be talking it out. But again, stick to what they know. Yes, the pressure is on, but if they can harness that energy and use that adrenaline to their advantage, they can play a little bit more on point. So
And it looked like Kantai has practiced more with the Belfast as opposed to BWC. I did it. They might have. I don't know. We'll talk to them after everything is said and done here. Win or lose, we will be talking to one representative from both teams. We'll talking to the loser of the match first, as opposed to, and then we'll talk to the winner of the match moving on. So here we go. Looks like the same setup again. Looks like 3 destroyers on BWC. What are you thinking here? We still see a Belfast and a Shiriatsuyu and probably 2 Bensons.
yeah, I'm still learning ship shadows. It looks like the same lineups are going to be coming out. Again, nothing wrong with the pickups there. It just again those few plays, those few it can mean all the difference. So I think they'll just keep sticking with the ships that they've been practicing for. I mean, these guys have been playing many practice rounds, practicing strategies, going through executions.
Absolutely. And I do appreciate each and every one of you guys for
Oh,
showing
it
up
look
here.
yeah,
And
but it looks like teams taking about the same.
looks like here on Kantai Collection, Shikaku, North Carolina, 2 Bismarcks, a Tago, a Kudasov, and a Belfast, Benson, and a Shiriatsuyu. And on the BWC side, what are they having?
Black Widow Company, we got Shokaku, North Carolina, Turpitsamagi, which I believe that was the same, followed by Kuchasov, Belfast taking cruiser duties, while the pair of the double Bensons, Shiriatsuyu, is taking up our destroyer needs.
Absolutely. All right, so we're seeing a 3 versus 2 DDs yet again here. We did work out in game number 1, and we'll see how if it works out here in game number 2.
All right, so spawning over here with BWC, they tend to be looking more aligned for kind of that BC side push, while Alone Benson is moving up towards A directly now as we speak. We'll see if they keep this deployment or if they're going to transition, move the fleet over to a different side. Let's see what they go with.
Conversely, here on the northern side, Kantai is now looking like they are moving from east to west, moving away from Charlie over into the AB side. And this will be interesting to see how this is going to play out, because we do have a Benson and a Belfast moving toward the right. It looks like they're trying to merge, and they probably will merge somewhere around the D5, D6 line, as I am throwing my drops down now. Double fires on me, and I will be able to kill
So
myself
Kantai has set the
momentarily.
torpedo planes along with the fighter escort moving through B, kind of pre-screening the area as both destroyers, the Shiriatsuyu and the Benson, are trying to get themselves positioned to sit on that cap. They want it early. And it also looks like that lateral Benson is directly moving towards A. He is going to be sitting on it here momentarily, any second now. Whether or not he's going to stay alone or not, we'll see.
With the Shikaku planes being out here, it doesn't look like the Shariatsu is going to be able to get into the B, and the Benson is not going to be able to get into B like they had planned here at the beginning of the match. Is what it looks like, as I now have gone down into floods. As here we have, we are looking at Ataco Benson, North Carolina, on the far right-hand side, or far left-hand side, looking at A, as it appears that one of the destroyers from BWC is now taking A, and one of the destroyers has moved up into B. What you got at A, homie? You're muted again.
Oh, sorry. Big Zach over in the Benson is taking A side.
And what's here at B?
And while we're sitting there, Ragnarok is currently supporting Jacob Knight in the Shariatsuyu, who is sitting in the cap. So both the other destroyers are sitting up at B with also a cruiser escort kind of hiding behind that smoke wall.
Now, the Kudasov, North Carolina Tirpitz, and Amagi have popped up on the screen, but it looks like most of Kantai Collection is now positioning themselves behind the island at B at the E5, E6 line. It's going to be interesting to see. We've seen this before of them immediately coming out and turtling. I think
Jacob Knight seems to be spotted, so he has actually had to pop his smoke, and it looks like he ran aground. Is he going to be able to make it out here?
We will see if the Belfast is right there. It looks like 13. I don't know how far it is because
his torp wall has been unleashed, so it looks like Battleship Shinano could be within torping damage here. We'll see if this spread moves out.
They have been spotted, but conversely, the destroyer Hatsuyuki has released a second torp wall into the smoke. We'll see how that plays out as Belfast. I think he's already popped
Righteous
his
Fury,
radar.
he's moved up through it, so he's going to avoid that torp strike, although there's another one moving in, and Shariatsuyu is going to be taking one torp. Jacob Knight, it has taken him out. That is bad.
Taking him out.
Shariatsuyu is gone from the match.
That's unfortunate for BWC as they lose a massive advantage having an extra destroyer early. Battleship Shinano, Battleship Yamato Kai, and Musashi Kai have all dodged all the torpedoes. No damage from the torpedo walls coming out as we saw. Very good torpedoes from the Benson and their and the Kantai's team here.
BWC is moving most of their fleet kind of actually still kind of in that A side. They have 3-ship line moving with the Tirpitz, Kuchasov, and actually the carrier seems to be following suit. Satchmo has kind of positioned himself kind of more in that midline there. I'm sure you can observe him, while the Benson is still desperately trying to get up into the B cap.
Absolutely. Trying to stop that cap is destroyer Hatsuyuki is now capping the B cap with the advantage here being up one destroyer. The only thing that we can see the Tirpitz, North Carolina, Amagi, and we can actually see the Belfast right now, which is surprisingly enough. But I don't think he's in any
he outran
actionable.
His smoke a little bit there.
Now he has backed up into the smoke. You got it 23 kilometers, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys are going to play the Belfast, you'll be at 23 kilometers an hour before popping that smoke, so you can guarantee yourself the 2 plumes and still be in the smoke.
Yeah. Happens to the best of us. We all know that one.
Absolutely.
Royal Navy cruiser smoke.
So here we go. Battleship Shinano is taking a lot of HE and a little bit of AP damage currently. The Amagi cross corrosive is taking a little bit of HE damage. I'm not quite sure who it's from at the moment. I don't think it's the Belfast.
Yeah, Ragnarok and the Benson seems to be the one littering Battleship Shinano right now. So he's firing from right beyond that island in his own smoke plume there.
And it looks like the Belfast is also firing out of his smoke, and the Kudasov is the one doing the HE damage.
So Kantai's going to be dropping a set of blind torps through the smoke, trying to hit. Unfortunately, he missed there. He actually dropped just a little bit too soon, but it did panic Ragnarok, so now he is going to be pushing out of the smoke. Although he was secure, he might have been able to keep his position just fine.
There is a second wall of torps coming at Ragnarok, as we see another torpedo wall going up north. Don't think that that's going to hit anybody up north toward Kantai. The Benson destroyer Hatsuyuki is forced to move as Ragnarok ended up taking torpedoes from the Shikaku hotshot. Very nice drop on the Benson
Actually,
there.
he missed that torp. There was only one torpedo lane left in the SWAT. It was some gunfire that actually nuked down the Benson
That
there.
was a gunfire, and it looks like the Benson is going to
But the
burn
bombs
out
are
here.
going to get him.
And that is
so Shikaku did get the kill.
That is two kills, two DDs gone here for BWC, as Kantai has a huge, massive advantage now on smoke, on positioning. I really don't particularly care for the positioning here of Kantai
they're getting boxed
stuck
in.
like that, but they are being able to take it out, as we saw Battleship Yamato Kai and the Otago making that trip to Charlie to cap it, just so they can catch up on points. And now that they are even again, we have Face Fisted making a charge.
Yeah, Face Fisted and Big Zach are going to be pushing this charge on this lateral flank, trying to utilize. I don't know if they realized that Cruiser Uyuda Kai was there, but again, he's within torp striking distance, so we'll see how this plays out. We know that the Turpits can get up close, take that brawling, dish out damage, and pull out alive.
He will dodge some of the Shirian Tsuyu torps as I don't know if those are Turpits torps. They look like Turpits torps because it's only one set going into the smoke here, as the North Carolina Oda Yokai is now visible, as the Turpits secondaries are now firing off. And did he take any of those torpedoes?
It looked like one was able to kind of strike him.
Looks like Turpitz was going to take 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, he's taking
four
He's
torpedoes
done.
from the Kudasov to take him down. Some from the Shiriatsuyu, as the second wall of torps are now going into the smoke. It looks like one has hit Cruiser Odo Yokai, which in the North Carolina. What else do we have here? We have Corrosive is now taking a lot of damage from the Benson and the Otago at the same time. And
Dachmo's got a good angle on the enemy here. We'll see if he holds his position. He might be able to take out this Kudasov or the Bismarck here shortly.
Let's see. The Otago is now flanking around. The Belfast is popping up his smoke. Corrosive is going to dodge some torpedoes, and Satchmo looks like he might be in a position here to dodge these torpedoes as well coming at him. Yes, he looks like he's going to be just to the right of the torpedoes. As a big advantage here. It doesn't look like Kantai is pushing their advantage as of yet, but watch for it, boys. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen fast.
Yeah, and they have the 2 cap advantage, so there really is no need for them to they can sit back and really still force the hand of BWC to make that play for B. So if they stay patient here, there really is no lead. They have the points advantage as of now.
Oh, the Kudasov blind shot into the smoke. I'm assuming it wasn't a blind shot. Belfast probably popped his smoke, so good shot on the Kudasov to kill the Kudasov in the smoke. The Belfast has popped his radar. I believe that's what happened here. Is now it's just a matter of time. Yeah. Corrosive is about to take on everybody, as Big Zach is here to try to kind of screen for him torpedo-wise, as there's a torp wall coming in from carrier, a destroyer Shiriatsu here, as the Otago is able to drop torpedoes into the Belfast one. He was in his smoke and kill him.
And Big Zach is making an amazing dodge. Can he miss this last? Oh,
the Shikaku got him as well, as Corrosive dodged
and a
all
great
of the
pirouetting
torpedoes.
death.
Yes, very nice. I tell you what, Carrier's Weho has really come forward through his team in the last 2 games, taking out people, doing massive amounts of damage on destroyers. As now he has also taken another kill on the Amagi with his last set of torpedo bombers that are out in the air at the moment.
Yes,
what do we have left?
CV play has been a real star this entire
absolutely. The game number 2 and game number 3, you really saw the Carriers really taking over, which is not something that we see very often here with the ability to have the North Carolina. But if you get a battleship that is not the North Carolina in Tier 8 alone, there's not much that battleship can do to secure themselves from being destroyed. So either way, good game, a very good series. Kntaijoint forces taking out BWC here, as we see Destroyer Hatsuyuki taking out Satchmo in his North Carolina. Very, 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 very good game. Actually, a perfect game here. We see one Battleship Shinano taking a lot of damage down to about 9,000 hit points. Nobody else is under, I'd say, Nobody else is under halfway, I believe. Oda Yokai in the North Carolina is about 31,000. So pretty much a perfect game here. They just kind of
Yeah, very impressive
they
finish.
kind of set on their lead. Kantai did, and forced BWC to push into them. And when they did it, they didn't do it as a team. If they had pushed in there as a team, it would have been very, very hard pressed for Kantai to defend against it. But a very good game, two very good teams to make it this far into the bracket. And as we look on the post battle screen here, we have Shikaku taking out four players, four ships, taking out four ships here. We have a Benson with two, Kudasov with two, the Atago with one on that Belfast torpedo into the smoke. As we look onto the other side, a couple of planes shot down. That's pretty much everything. There's no kills for BWC. It's a
Flawless victory.
very dominating performance by Kantai. It is unfortunate for BWC that their season will come to an end for first place, but they still have to fight the loser of the next Western Fleet and APOC for battle for third and fourth place. So very, very nice season for them to make it all the way to the semifinals. And Kantai moving on to face the winner of Western Fleet and APOC. It would be an interesting final battle there, depending on who the other team is. But MVP of this game.
Oh, I think it still definitely goes down to that Shokaku. That CV play was critical in both spotting mechanisms and taking advantage, knowing when to strike, how to strike, where to strike. Really good play.
Absolutely. My star of the game is the Shikaku. Being able to hit destroyers with torpedoes is a very, very difficult task from my personal opinion. Very, very, very high level skill play, and it's something that you don't really see at Shikaku carrying the games like this. Usually, you'll see some torpedoes carry the game or turn the game into the people's favor. So Shikaku carrier Zuiho in a Shikaku, very excellent gameplay this time. So he's my star of this game. Turning point, killing the Benson, I believe, is mine with the bombers as after he had hit him with a torpedo. Very, very excellent, very, very excellent drops today on them. And on the other side, the Belfast hitting the radar so they can get the Benson in the smoke was very, very huge, taking out less smoke and so on and so on.
And then the quick death of Shiriatsu at the beginning there was really kind of a critical play. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now we have a. If you want to move up into the meeting room here, let us move up in over on Discord here, so we can get an interview with one of these teams here. And maybe we can see. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry about that.
Kantai, congratulations. We are talking with Battleship Shinano here. Kantai, congratulations on the victory here. Very dominating performance from the team. And when you guys are going into this, I think everybody in the chat and everybody in the Twitch stream is asking the same question. What was the deal with the bringing in the Shiriatsuyu and the Belfast in that first game? What are you guys thinking here?
The Shiratsu and the Belfast are more of utility ships because Shiratsu has smoke and torp reload. So we could send 16 torps in 5 seconds with a buffer of 4 minutes. So it was more useful to have a torch jam towards the smokes of the enemy team. And for Belfast, it's not the range of radar that was the most important, but the duration. We didn't have an already, so we preferred to use a Belfast due to its duration, so we were able to end easily more the DDs when it was used.
All right, absolutely. And Mr. Swill, go ahead. I think you have a question for him as well.
Yeah, I got a question. So I noticed when you guys were playing with your games where a lot of teams will kind of divide up and set that 2 point gameplay. You guys were real calm in being able to take 1 point and then when the opportune moment seemed right, then to only then pursue that second point. Is that something you guys practice or is that just an audible?
For us, it's something we're used to do because it's our game our play style. We're practicing that a lot because we prefer to go a bit more cautiously at first, and then when we start seeing the enemy team, where the enemy team goes, we push where we feel that it's the best position to go.
Absolutely, we saw that push in the second game, running up the Bismarck Otago Kudasov Bismarck combination up through B, closing out the game like a book. Man, you guys just kind of really pushed them hard, forcing them into basically a corner and forcing them into the rest of the team toward the south. We did see that. Can you comment on the play of carriers here in this game? Doesn't usually happen. We haven't seen too many high-profile games from carriers thus far until today. Carrier Zuiho is an excellent carrier player, dropping on Shikaku with 4 kills that game. Can you talk a little bit about him?
Well, Zuio is playing is a main CV player. He has over 3,000 game in a CV. So
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
people aren't used to hear that. I know that, and he's a really good carrier player. And I don't give him any strategies except protecting your DDs at first. So he has the green light to do what he feels right for the team, and being able to do that this way, it's how I want him to do. It's why our carrier is so important in a league like Supremacy League.
Hmm.
And we saw right now that Zuio Wu also played in the matchup against CU. Even though he had 250 ping, did quite a good job over there because he's South American. And he did a really, really, really good job once again tonight. We told him, bring the comp you need and you feel the most comfortable with, and do your job. That's all we ask you. And he brought 222 because he feel better with it. At one point, in the second game, he had no fighters left, but he was able to do the right thing at the right time, even without fighters.
Absolutely, very very high performance, and I understand dropping on destroyers and being able to hit destroyers with torpedoes and the bombers is very very impressive to somebody who doesn't play carriers so often. Very very excellent gameplay, and Mr. Swole. So thank you very much, Mr. Swole. If you have any more questions for Battleship Shinano here.
Well, I guess more of the thing is, and again, bringing up CV because he was kind of the star. When you have a player like that who's playing CV that well, what does that do for the rest of you guys as a team as far as your ability to trust that you're going to get things spotted, you're going to get damage on ships when he makes those drops? What does that do for you guys as far as a team?
It removes a lot of pressure. To be honest, having him behind me and my backup CV is Destroyer Atsuyuki, who's also really good at CV. So having a good CV player is mainly one of the most important part in a Supremacy League because it's a lot of pressure off your own shoulders.
Absolutely. If you have generally with the carriers when they come into these games, their roles are let's spot here, let's spot this, let's see where the enemy team is going, and then we can play our adjust our strategy of the game to what we are seeing, and just a massive and for you guys to let him go on his own shows a lot of trust on your part and a lot of really good skill from Zuiho tonight. So thank you very much, Mr. Battleship Shinano, and congratulations to Kantai moving on into the finals next week. Good luck in that finals. If there's anything you guys want to say to the fans out here in the chat, now is your time.
Well, thank you for watching, and let's see you probably next week if once again Sir Venomnic and Mr. Swole will stream it for us. I will be gladly welcoming them, and let's see you. That's where we're gonna try to win the cup.
All right, outstanding, man. Congratulations again, and thank you very much for coming in and taking your time. Mr. Swole, you have anything else?
Nah, good luck again, and great games tonight.
Thank you very
Outstanding. Now
much.
we're going to move up into talking with Corrosive now from Black Widow Company, and let us do that real quick. So, Corrosive, how are you today, man? Wow. We just seen it. It's an unfortunate loss, 3-0 from Kantai onto your team. How do you recover from this and move into the next week when you guys have one more match going in for third and fourth place now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can.
Okay. Yeah, well, it was a bad loss for us. I think we did not play the way that we were used to playing, but we need to get behind this. They were a very good team, and they are really well prepared for these kind of matches. And I just want to congratulate them again on their excellent matches. And
Outstanding.
well, they were the better team for sure.
Absolutely. Can you talk about when you go into that first game, the typical meta strategy that we have seen over the past couple of weeks, streaming these games and watching these games is Chappie, and then when you see a Belfast Shiriatsuyu combo coming out in that first game, what's going through your guys' head? Because I understand you had Shiriatsuyu on your team the first game as well, but when you see the Belfast come out, what is that making you think after that and in that first game?
Well, we kind of discussed it on forehand whether or not we should take the Belfast, but obviously with the current the last patch and the way that the Japanese destroyers were changed, we needed to think a little bit and adapt to that. So I think that also played a part. In the end, we had a reasonable success with the Chappie in the past because of its radar, but we also knew it's the first match that we played. It was it was shot down pretty fast, so hence the adapted tactics in the second match.
Absolutely. Mr. Swole?
Yeah, I noticed when you guys were playing that there was a lot of good strategy. You guys were quick to push the 2 points. And also, we saw some utilization of really great kind of smoke formations. We saw a great L smoke line in that second game that allowed you guys to kind of move around freely through things. Is that stuff that's practiced with you guys, or is this just on the fly thinking?
Now we have put in some practice, but to be honest, not as much as I would have liked. But it's difficult to get the people together because everybody has a real life. I'm from Europe, so it's 4 a.m. for me as well at this time. So that also plays a part.
Later.
Yeah, it's a little early for you, sir, as it's now 9:30 here in the Central U.S. time. So going in from game two, where you guys looked like you were going to have an advantage, and unfortunately it slipped away from y'all. How do you prepare for a loss? How do you prepare for a game three, and then conversely, how do you prepare for next week? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, the way I see it, we play this to have fun, and this is a great format to have fun. So we take it one match at a time. So no matter what the results are, we only can try to learn from what has happened and try to improve our games. And that's what we're going to try to do for the next week match.
Absolutely outstanding, Mr. Swole.
Oh, I'm just more impressed with the uniqueness of some of the plays I saw. Even though you guys might have gathered the losses in the end, I thought there were some really strong plays in all of the games that you guys were performing with different strategies, different tactics that proved to be well. So I think your
Absolutely.
guys' creativeness is something to be said there.
If you had it to do over again, Corrosive, seeing that the typical strategy of Kantai, from what we noticed, was they like to ball up very, very early into the game and then make you guys push into them. And I understand the third game you're behind. You need to make some things happen, and it kind of opens up the strategy. But I did find that you guys got spread out a little bit, and they were able to pick you guys off once or twice. Obviously, you guys practice, have your own strategies and stuff. When you see things like that, what is your mentality? Okay, these guys are in a ball. What do we do now?
Well, like I said, we just tried to find the weak spots, which unfortunately for us, there were not very few to take advantage of. We also had the unfortunate event of lacking one player, but even then we were able to get a small advantage, I think, in the beginning, even with the bot. But unfortunately, again, we could not hold it. Yeah, difficult match for us. That's all I can say. But they, like I said before, they did an excellent job.
All right.
And they have a very solid tactics going on, and it's not easy to break it.
Absolutely. Interesting game. Interesting setup for next week as you guys move into the third place. And we, at this point in time, we don't know who that's going to be. But good luck next week, Mr. Swoll, if you have anything you would like to say.
Yeah, just great games, and keep it up, and look forward to seeing your guys' next match.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Corrosive, is there anything that you guys want to say to the people out in the chat and to your fans of BWC here?
Well, thank you all for the support, and we hope that we can keep on providing nice and entertaining games. That way we have fun, and everybody has fun, and everybody gets better from it.
Absolutely, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week in that third place game. So thank you very much, and Corrosive, good luck with the third place game, and congratulations on a very, very hard fought season. Making it to number 3 in the season overall is pretty impressive, in my opinion.
Yeah, 13-5, still a good record.
Excellent record. Y'all had some very good games this season, and thank you very much for taking some time out. And I know you want to go and chat with your people, and thank you again, and good luck to you next week.
Yeah, thank you for streaming and taking care of us. See you later.
Absolutely, my pleasure. All right, so Mr. Swoll, right. That is going to be it for us here on semi-final week of the Silver League playoffs. Congratulations to Kntaijoint Forces for going 3-0 against a very solid team, which in the first 2 games could have gone either way, but they were able to pull it out. And I don't think that Black Widow Company really got off of the snide here, really got off of the mark in that third game.
Yeah, I think there was just a little bit of I don't know what you want to call it, disheartening or something, but it seemed to be not quite the push that we saw from the other 2 games, the aggressiveness. So, but still a great set of matches.
There is something to be said about the strategies that we did see by Kantai. Sending a destroyer here, they got some very good torpedo hits into smoke that wouldn't normally see. We also did see Kantai be very patient and waiting, and when they were down, having the patience to just sit and wait until Black Widow Company made a mistake, and when they made their mistake, they were able to push their advantage.
Yeah, a lot of good capitalization plays. Saw it.
Absolutely, and just the overall star of the match got to be Carriers Weho in the last 2 games, just really taking control in that last game as for example. So congratulations. He's my star of the night. Your star of the night, Mr. Swoll?
Yeah, I have to give the MVP to him as well. He seemed to have his planes always in the right position, knowing where classic, if you say classic, torp lines, torp walls could potentially be. So he was getting early spots for his team that way. Great, amazing drops, way to predict, way to lock up DDs and turns and then strike on them. Just flawless execution.
All right, no problem. And that is it. If you have anything else, thank you guys very much for hanging out here in twitch.tv/SirVenomIK as we stream the Supremacy League Silver League playoffs. Once again, Kantai 3-0 against Black Widow Company in some very, very close games. And we want to thank Kntaijoint Forces and Black Widow Company and the Supremacy League for giving us the opportunity to stream these games for you guys. And if y'all have any questions for some of these people, go ahead and type them into the chat, and we can put them. We can send those questions out, and I will try to do my best to get the replies to you guys. Now, as for the rest of the night, boys, if y'all want to hang out, we'll be having this match up on YouTube shortly, probably 10 or 20 minutes from now. And also, we will, if you guys want to rewatch any of these, I will be putting the up on WoW's replay here as soon as we go down. So, Mr. Swole, thank you very much again for joining us here on the Supremacy League Silver League semifinals. This has been pretty fun, man.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to be a part of this and join in and comment when we can, and hopefully the fans out there are enjoying it as well, doing the best to try to show these games and talk about the excitement, maybe get some strategies put out, hearing from the players themselves on things that they're thinking for you guys.
Absolutely. All we want to do is pass along the excellent play and excellent strategies out there, so maybe some of these guys that are watching, they won't be potatoes.
Yeah, get that knowledge.
Get that knowledge, boys. Get that knowledge and soak it in. So, for all of us here in the pit, Mr. Swole and myself, Sir Venom IK, we salute you. Thank you very much for hanging out, and we will see you guys next week with the finals between, right now, Kntaijoint Forces, and we don't know if the winner of the match between the Western Fleet and APOC. That's a 1 versus 5. I look forward to seeing you next week, Mr. Swole.
Yes, we'll see you then.
All right, boys, that's it. Signing off. Thank you very much again, and we'll see y'all next time.